Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to my conference covering the topic of global inequality. So, what is global inequality? Well, global inequality is when people don't get treated equally due to their characteristics or features, for example, gender inequality or homophobia. However, my chosen topic I did my standpoint on was racism, as it attracted me the most. So, why is racism an issue? There are many reasons on why it's an issue. However, I think one of the main reasons it's an issue is because in the difference in the opportunities it gives amongst everyone. Well, why should we care? We should care because the world is changing, people are mixing, and everywhere you go, there's diversity increasing, and not everyone is being treated equally. People are getting injured, families are being destroyed, and people even dying because of this. Don't you think this is a good enough reason for you to care? Even though racism is a massive problem in today's world, I think there's many ways to decrease the amount of racism that goes around locally, nationally, and even internationally. I've chosen 6 solutions that I think were the best ways to insert into our daily lives, which could potentially show a decrease in racism. I'll briefly talk about all the 6 solutions, and at the end, to conclude, choose a final solution that I think is the most effective and best solutions out of all the 6. The first solution is peaceful protests. I've chosen this in my top 6 due to recent events, the Black Lives Matter movement. I believe this to be an international solution as there's many protests being held across the globe. And they're also an effective way to spread the message to other people. This is one solution I think that brings communities together that have a drive for one end goal. For example, getting justice for people who are innocent. It is also a big eye-opener to the watchers who had no idea how big of a problem racism really is. Even though all the positives, I did find some weaknesses to the solution. For example, the number of people protesting. If there's a limited number of people protesting, the protest won't be as effective as there's not many people there to support it. Due to this, it won't get paid enough attention and might get neglected by the media. My next solution is to do a change in the education. By this, I mean that I think we need to include more culturally relevant teaching into students' lives. I think this will benefit the students and the school, as a lot of the students would be able to understand other people and potentially increase in having respect for other people as well. I think this is also an international solution as it can be implemented anywhere. However, the downside of the solution is that for the teachers to implement the culturally relevant teaching into students' education, the curriculum needs to be changed. And this can be a disadvantage depending on where you live, as the duration for the curriculum to get changed can vary from taking not that long to potentially taking years. But overall, I think this would be an effective long-term solution. My third solution is the idea of bringing up children with more understanding. By this, I mean that when children grow up, a lot of them get influenced by their parents. Not necessarily in a negative aspect, but if we took this into consideration, parents could bring up their children with the idea of seeing everyone equally or respecting others, etc. As simple as it sounds, I think this would be a very effective solution to decrease racism, as like it or not, some people do influence their children negatively, intentionally or not. I think this comes under environmental factor, as the idea is to bring up children in an environment that portrays equality heavily. The only downsides to the solutions are that it's a long-term and time-consuming to reach an end goal. However, when it does, it would be beneficial for the generation. Also, not all parents are going to do this, as everyone has their own rights and opinions, so it would be hard to implement into everyone's lives. My next solution is to have equal legal actions being placed. For example, 2 different people who are different races who did the same exact crime should be getting the same exact punishments or sentences as each other. This would be effective as it would bring justice to the people who have been affected by these unfair decisions due to racism. However, this would be a national solution as it would be needed to implemented in countries' laws, and this can be very time consuming to make these changes. Some other negatives of this solution would be people don't always go through the punishment. For example, they can get out of jail, in other words, get out on bail, which is unfair on people who have been affected by the person. Overall, I think this is a strong solution, but in my opinion, too time consuming. My penultimate solution is the government support. In my opinion, I think this is a very good solution, as I think that if the government supported the people in areas of topics such as racism, it would bring people more confidence and encourage a variety of people to stand up and speak out for themselves. This could mean the more people that are speaking out, then more effective and heard the message is going to be, and the more attention it will be given to the problem. Doing this also gives the people who are unheard a chance to make a change. I think in doing this will benefit the people of the country more and potentially change their opinion on the government and get more people involved. However, the downsides would be that the government could get hate towards them, or they could be focused more on other issues taking place in the country. As well as that, even with the support of the government, views and opinions of people aren't always guaranteed to change. So therefore, even with the government support, there won't be much of an effect. My final solution is to spread awareness and have meetings. This can be done in many ways. For example, posters or adverts, so people can see them and get an understanding of what the problem is. Also, to hold meetings in a workplace to educate staff and new staff about the problem. This is a local solution, as it will have an effect in your area. However, it's an easy solution to carry out anywhere and an easy way to reach out to people. It's also a long-term solution, as it can be done whenever you want to bring attention to an issue or update people on the issue. The weakness of the solutions are that the posters or adverts can get ignored, as it is not compulsory that you must pay attention to them. And due to them being ignored, it is having no effect on people whatsoever. After looking through and analysing all the 6 solutions, I've concluded that the best solution now is peaceful protests. And the main reason behind my decision is the Black Lives Matter movement that happened this year, because the amount of people that came together and fighting together, no matter who they were, was so inspirational to witness. It also affected across the globe, causing several other peaceful protests to occur in many different countries. It also showed us that in the end, justice to those who needed it was fulfilled. This event showed us that this solution generally works, and if it happened more at even a bigger scale, we could accomplish more. The benefits of the solutions are that people could get the justice they deserve, and not just them, but their families and friends who suffered along with them. So why is this solution better than the other ones? Well, a big advantage to the solution is that it's not time consuming, and we get a result much faster than all the other solutions in our list, and we know that it can create attention quickly. As well as that, the solution incorporates some of the other solutions into it. For example, legal actions being placed that are unbiased. Overall, there aren't many drawbacks to the solutions other than not enough people being there, therefore not enough attention being paid to it. However, one main drawback which could take place is violence between people. Not everyone's going to agree with your opinion, and not everyone's going to support it. This can cause disruptions and violence in the protests between people. So, what are my final thoughts? Well, firstly, I know none of these solutions would eliminate racism, and even if they did, it would take a very long time to achieve that goal. So, in my opinion, I think I chose the right solution to be my final solution, as it had the best overall results and outcomes. Thank you for listening.